Hey YouTubers, Connie Guy back here again with another do-it-yourself video. This video is about making your own bullet puller. We've got bullet pullers here in Hawaii, but I think you'll pay at a minimum $25 for something that seems really easy to build with just common household material or materials that you would probably find around your house. In a prior video I tried to make a bullet puller out of a piece of 2x4 and I was mighty proud at the way it came out. However, after pulling a few bullets with it, I realized that it was really unwieldy, heavy, cumbersome, and probably not as durable as this item that you see here today. And the reason for that is because as you use a wooden bullet puller and continue to hammer that piece of wood against the concrete surface, the wood begins to crack and to come apart. So I decided to go back to the drawing board to try my hand at making another bullet puller, and this is what I came up with. Again, there's a lot of information floating around on the internet on how to use PVC pipe to make a bullet puller, so I don't take credit for this, but I do take credit for making at least a video and putting it online to show you how I came about with this design. There's a couple of things you will need. First of all, and we can go quickly over that. First of all, I use a 1/2-inch PVC. You can use something larger if you want in terms of diameter, but PVC 1/2-inch seems to work just fine. So you take about 2 feet of PVC is all you really need. Okay. The second thing you would need is a PVC coupling. And this coupling is used to splice 2 pieces of straight PVC pipe together. You will notice in the coupling itself there's a shoulder, and that's important. You'll need a PVC end cap. And by the way, I didn't go to the store to buy these things specifically for this. I have some leftover material from a landscaping project and lying around the house. So keep costs down that way if you've got a whole stock of these leftovers from your own yard project. You'll need a 3-way connector. I think it's called a 3-way connector elbow. You'll need some primer, PVC primer, and of course some PVC cement. As far as, oh, by the way, I forgot to mention, this bullet puller works in conjunction with the use of a Lee lock stud, as you see here, and a Lee shell holder. Now these of course are bullet specific, so if you have the equipment to reload a specific caliber, you will probably end up having a shell holder from Lee for that particular caliber. This one happens to be a number 7 used for reloading .32 ACP. As far as tools are concerned, you'll need a hammer or a vise. A vise would work as well. And something to cut the PVC with. I just use this device. You can use a hacksaw or some other cutting implement of your choice. I'd like to just show you this piece right here, because just from this picture alone you should be able to fabricate your own PVC puller, bullet puller, without me having to go through and explain at great length how to put this together. It's pretty much common sense. I didn't mention, as far as materials are concerned, a rubber tape, but this is a pipe tape that I use just to enhance my ability to grip the end of the hammer. Okay, and I'll go ahead and explain how I put this together here. First, what you want to do is take your PVC pipe, you'll cut two small pieces. First of all, I think the first piece is about 2.5 inches, and then the second length would be about 1.5 inches. The 2.5 inch fits here on this end of the three-way connector, and then the other 1.5 inch piece fits on the opposite end here. Now, you can't see it here, but I have cemented the 1.5 inch length PVC piece on this end of the connector here, and took the end cap, and before I cemented the end cap on here, I put a piece of foam in that little hole. And the foam I used came from an exercise mat, pretty thick. I just simply took the PVC pipe, put it on the foam mat, traced around it, and then took a shears and just cut it out. And to my pleasant surprise, when I fit the styrofoam piece right into the hole, the piece diameter was greater than the inner diameter of the end cap, so I had to actually push it in with my thumb with some amount of resistance. And so I know that, with a certain amount of jarring, that styrofoam piece will not come out of the end cap. So once you've done that, well, before I go any further, you can go ahead and add some glue, hot glue or Elmer's glue if you wish, or contact cement to the bottom of that before you put the foam piece in there, just for added assurance that the foam piece will not move. You then go ahead and cement that onto the end there. Now this end is probably the most complex part of the bullet puller. I cemented in the 2.5 inch piece of PVC pipe into this end of the bullet puller. And I'll demonstrate to you how, or rather why, this bullet puller works the way it does. If you take the Lee lock stud and the shell holder and you put them together, I might even add a bullet to it. This is a 32 ACP. You lock that down, and if you insert it into the end here, you will notice that the diameter of the lock stud itself is almost the same size as the diameter of the PVC pipe. So the bottom line is it will not slip down into the hole. It rests on the surface of the PVC pipe there, and that's important. The next thing I did was I took a coupling and slid it over here, and you will note that although there's a shoulder in the coupling itself, the inner diameter of that shoulder is still greater than the diameter of this piece right here. So it slips all the way through to the other side. Okay. But this piece is still very important, and as you will see, that it is an integral part of this of the system that retains this part here and keeps it from coming out. So what you do is you put this here as you're trowel fitting this piece here, and then you put the coupling over it and you snug that down pretty tight onto the PVC pipe. Then the next thing you do is you take your 1.5 inch piece of PVC. Now I don't have a piece of PVC cut to the length of 1.5 inch, but you can imagine it'll probably be about that long. And then you fit that into this hole here. And what that does, well, why don't we just go ahead and cut a piece right here, since I have all the tools and implements necessary to do that. Okay, as I was saying, you would take the PVC pipe, and once you've got that coupling pressed down firmly against this PVC, the Lee shell holder and lock stud, and also a 32 ACP round right there, in the hole there, and then you would take this, put it into the hole, and press down on it. Now what this does is it locks the Lee lock stud and shell holder firmly into that, as we say here in Hawaii, puka, or hole, and prevents that from moving around. You can trim that to length if you wish. And once you've got that in there, and you know, well, there's a couple ways to do it. You can take this back out, prime the insides on one side here, and then put some glue on it, or cement, push that back down, and then take this piece here and push that all the way in there, and then you let it set. And the end product will look something like this. A little bit of excess sticking out, but that's okay. All right. You can now press it on there, and that retains the shell holder, the Lee shell holder and lock stud in there. As you notice, there's no rattling or shaking now. Okay. And then you go ahead and take your 1.5 foot piece of PVC, and then you cement that into place here. Right. And there you go. It should work for all calibers. I believe the shell holders are all about the same diameter, so it should work for just about any caliber bullet that you have. Now, a couple of things that I might note about this bullet puller that you may want to think about as you're designing your own, and that is capturing all of the gunpowder that comes out of the bullet. You will note that on this side I did not talk about plugging the hole, or puka, on this side, so some of the gunpowder may end up going into this particular end of the PVC pipe, and that's something perhaps you may wish to consider. If you want to get fancy, you can put another end cap on that, but then you might confuse yourself as to which is the side that you end up hitting the ground with. You want to put a big arrow there if you want. But I've pulled a couple of bullets with this, and it's held up pretty well. You know, if you end up busting it, you can always make another one with the materials that you have. The other weakness that I can think about with respect to this system is this piece flying off right here. That's easily remedied. You know, with a couple of hard wraps, this piece, you might jar this piece off and the whole thing might come flying out. To prevent that from happening, there's a couple of things you can do. You can put a couple of screws here or here, and then, you know, take a piece of leather and strap it on to the screw head or rubber band or something like that to prevent this whole thing from flying off. You can also put a screw on this side and then a screw on that side, and get a rubber band and put it right through, you know, cut a channel through here, and that should hold this piece on and prevent it from flying around. Forgot to mention that, or perhaps I did mention that this final piece here that serves to retain and hold the Lee lock stud and shell holder down is cemented into place. I tried to use it without cementing it in place, and the whole thing just blew apart after a couple of hard hits. So went ahead and I cemented that piece in there. And there you have it, PVC bullet puller. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. Thanks for watching.